peace that surpasses all understanding. 3:33 a.m. 3:33, 2:22. If you understand what I'm talking about, kudos. If you don't, you will. Be patient with yourself. Again, parental advisory. See that? I might blaze again when, as I'm sharing. I never know when this stuff's going to come out. Intuition is a very guided intuition. Compelled intuition. Tap on the shoulder, dude. Oh man. So the thing that what I'm sensing is I shared yesterday about self-awareness and my experiences as a child growing up, being an empath, being an Intuit, being intuitive, being an Intuit, being a sensitive, and you know, if it's useful to anyone out there, how does it manifest? You know, what is he talking about? You know, and I can only share my own personal experiences with you, and let you decide who you are. You know, if you resonate, if it makes sense, if it touches your heart, and you go, oh, you know, maybe that's what I was doing. But I want to give you an example, okay? And so when I was a kid, I mentioned in my last share that a great many of the experiences that I could not as yet identify were that the what I now label as empath, intuit, sensitive. You not only when you're having interactions with people, groups of people, even the vibrational field of a collective of people, and I'll get to that, I hope I remember this, I'll get to that a little bit later on in the video. I went to the beach yesterday. I live on the seacoast, but the difficulty when I was young and not being able to identify what I was feeling, when I was around other people, if they were angry, I felt angry. If they were sad, I felt sad. But it was way next level. It was not where I was just feeling compassion for them, you know, identifying with them, figuratively holding their hand through an emotion. I became their emotion. Sometimes it's a wonderful thing, especially when their emotions are elevated and light and blissed out, because I could feel that too. Where it gets a little creepy, and I experienced this 2 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago, and then again this past week. And it occurred in the grocery store. The first time, I typically have to, before I enter any public area, on a spiritual level, on an emotional level, my higher self, my truest being, I have to put my armor on before I go into any environment that where there's a lot of people, or even individually. If I know that if I'm going to see an individual, I have to be, I have to protect myself. So that, and that took a long time to develop a certain amount of balance with that, to learn how to engage without absorbing, identify without becoming. And these two most recent situations in the grocery store, where it became very uncomfortable. It was with two separate occasions, two individual females. Now I don't, no. If you identify, you identify. If you don't, you don't. Whatever. This is for the person who identifies and is looking for an answer and looking for some enlightenment or insight into this. So I'm going through the grocery store, and it has been my experience that people with, shall we say, denser energy, denser, not quite, dense, not quite so light-filled, they can actually project their energy onto you. And the first female that I encountered, part of being an empath, I need to be appropriate here. Part of being an empath is, on some levels, my senses can be acutely honed in. Primarily my sense of smell. And this particular woman that I encountered, I believe, boy, you'll have to forgive me because I'm having a difficult time remembering what the, she was not cycling, she was not menstruating, she was fertile. And she was, a friend of mine, the word, she was ripe, shall we say. And I mean absolutely no disrespect. Sex and we're sexual beings. But in layman's terms, I could smell, I could sense that she was interested in mating. Not only on that somewhat physical sense, through my sense of smell, but on an emotional level, she was projecting her sexuality. Okay? That would be an excellent way. Yes, she was projecting her sexuality to the collective in the grocery store, but it tuned in on me. She tuned in on me. She tuned in on me. And boy, am I telling you, they speak of, there's a lot of speak, especially nowadays, with aggressive men, inappropriate men. A male, the male libido is often frequently perceived as being predatory. And I'm not going to dispute that, because there is a great deal of warped, twisted, skewed, inverted thinking about sex, especially from the male point of view, being inundated incessantly with pornographic images, and that mindset, the mindset that goes hand in hand with that. So it's no wonder. However, this particular interaction, this exchange of energy, was quite uncomfortable. It was the energy that I sensed and I felt. Now, mind you, the only thing that occurred between us, as I was walking down the aisle, she was walking by, we made eye contact. Game over. It was like, or game on, as the case may be. The exchange of energy was tangible, okay? And what I sensed, what I felt being projected at me was dominance and control initially, and then fear. Tons of fear of lack, fear of identity, self-loathing, being projected onto me from her. And then that consistent feeling of power and control, that it was my intuition with this particular individual that she was ovulating. She was right. No disrespect. She was projecting her sexuality into my field. I wasn't prepared for it. It landed. But the sense was from her point of view, and it was an arrogant point of view. And this was the perception that I picked up on. All I have to do is offer this to him, and he's mine, and I can control him. I can manipulate him. I can use what I have to get what I want, to validate her perception of self. I'm powerful. I'm in control. But there was that lingering sense of fear and self-loathing because she had done this so many times. Okay? I'm going to move on from this because talking about it is bringing up some emotion in me. I grew up in a very dominating, female-dominated environment, and I'm okay with sitting with this stuff, but it's clear to me that I have not processed all of this energy regarding this one person. Okay? So bear with me, alright? It's cool. We're good. But I feel myself getting nauseous. So there's something going on. So, if you can identify I think primarily as a woman, if you're a woman watching this, you can identify with that intuition that you have as a woman, with a lot of your feminine energy. That it's a great thing. With a lot of your feminine energy, when there's a guy in your presence and and it's like, dude, get the fuck away from me. You know what so, excuse the language, but, you know, I'm trying to capture the feeling and the essence. So, that's a powerful, what we just talked about, that's a powerful example of what I'm referring to as being sensitive, being an empath, being tuned into other people's expressions, and projecting their energy onto you. Now, when I was a kid growing up, I was in a female environment, primarily female, almost entirely female. 4 sisters, mother, grandmother, okay? My father died when I was very young. So, here I am, I'm a kid trying to understand all the feelings that I'm having that really weren't my feelings. I was just absorbing the energy of the house with 4 women and claiming it as my own. It was, I didn't know. I didn't have any I didn't have any full understanding or ability at that time to label it, identify it, process it. But what I did experience is, because I was picking up so much on this energy and this vibration in the household, I was guided intuitively to my closet. And when you imagine a closet, it's dark, quiet. There is like zero stimulation, sensory deprivation, nothing coming in, nothing going out. It's just bliss, man. It's bliss. So, realizing, understanding, and accepting, even at that young age, that there was something about solitude, there was something about, and I, again, could not identify what I was doing in the closet, but I was meditating. I was meditating. I wasn't praying. I was raised Catholic and, Catholic and Jehovah's Witness. I wasn't praying. I was meditating. Breathing. Boy, does that feel good. The throat chakra. Following along. So, as time progressed, this happened, that happened, my life went on. But I hope on some level you can find, if you're questioning, am I an empath? Am I a sensitive? Why do I feel certain things more deeply than other people? Why do I feel what I feel? It's a blessing. It truly is, man. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. But it can be very difficult to navigate sometimes. Coming to more recent days. The beach. Let's get to the beach. When you encounter... Now, through the course of my life, there's been a few... and I do mean only a few. When you consider all the people you encounter through the course of your life, relatively speaking, the amount of people, the quantity of people that I've experienced or encountered, who I would identify as fellow empaths, fellow sensitives, there always seems to be an instant connection. There's an instant connection. The the qualities of those connections are very varied. You know, they're what is the purpose, or the, yep, I see you, you see me, and then we have interactions, and something, we produce something, or we gain a better awareness about each other, or self, or the collective. But it's very interesting. I was listening to, one of my friends was, yesterday was at a festival, and I had gone to the beach, and I live in Kittery, Maine, and boom, man, summer is on. Maine, quote unquote, vacation land. Lots of beaches, lots of camping, sportsman's paradise, all this other stuff. And so I go down on the beach yesterday morning. Simultaneously, my friend is in another part of the world geographically, going to a festival. So they are at a festival, I'm at a beach. Both situations, we are surrounded by a mass of people. And when you get that many people together, energy is produced. And depending on the spirit, the essence of those groupings of people, that determines and defines the energy that you're going to pick up on as an empath, as a sensitive. The way I would liken that, have you ever been to a concert? Have you ever been to a large sporting event? You know, and you get everybody in the stadium. Here's a good example. Queen, We Will Rock You. You're in a stadium full of people. All right? You get a stadium full of people projecting all of that energy. There is a tangible, physical reaction to that energy. It often presents itself goosebumps. The hairs on the back of your neck are standing up. So, my friend is at a festival across the ocean. Yesterday, I'm at the beach. A fellow intuitive, a fellow empath. We're both having different but similar experiences. Two very large crowds of people. In their experience, they began to feel extraordinarily uncomfortable about the energy that was being manifested by the collective of people. So much so that they had to leave. I'm down at the beach. Now I can't share with you, I can't read minds, as it were, but I can sense feeling in other. Now, here I am. I'm at the beach, surrounded by surrounded by tourists who come to Maine. People go on vacation. When you think of vacation, when you conjure that image in your mind and you think of vacation, what are you really doing? The mainstream world would have you believe, you've been indoctrinated to believe, that you bust your fucking ass for 365 days a year, all but 2 weeks, let's say, the average vacation or holiday. But in that 2 weeks, you're going to go and untie all the fucking knots of spirituality, anger, fear, depression. You're going to untie all that shit in 2 weeks. You ever sat around that before? I have. I did yesterday. I was at the beach, and these folks, the collective of folks, all of them collectively, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3, myself included, unfortunately, all except for maybe 2 or 3 people, so 3 total on that beach, were zenned out. But that energy of the collective, get out of my way, I'm relaxing. Peace, bro. Peace, bro. Peace, sister. Even the children that were playing. I have to have fun. Let me tell you, I fucking freaked out yesterday. I freaked the fuck out. It was like a kick in the gut. It was sad. It was sad. I wasn't, the manifestation of emotion, so far, yes, I am able to cry. It's a wonderful thing. It's so fucking cleansing. Tears, water, ocean, salt water, ladies, lots of tears, lots of blood, cleansing. But I had to get out of there. I had to get out of there. The manifestation in me usually presents as nausea. So when I am in that intuitive state, and there's energy being projected and flowing, if it's too overwhelming, if it's nausea, I get nausea, and I had to leave. It was the right choice. What does it mean to be an empath? What does it mean to be a sensitive? What does it mean to love with all your heart? There was an interesting thing that happened, though. I don't know if any of you are familiar with lucid dreaming, or oh crap, what is the word that I'm looking for? Memories. Origination memories. That's the word that's coming to my mind right now. Maybe there's a better word for it that I'm just not aware of. But if I was to tell you that the beach yesterday, when I was down at the beach, that I frequently have, when I'm at the beach, it's a very grounding place for me. I'm very connected to the water and to the earth. but primarily the ocean. The ocean. Okay? And what if I was to tell you that I have origination memories of a time where people were gathered around the water in perfection. There was no untying of knots. No one had knots. It was all just flow. From a loving, compassionate, blissed out, rock on, true self-awareness. And I feel it felt like a personal attack to me. It was offensive to my soul. Witnessing the collective shit all over my beach. Shit all over my ocean. They brought all that energy, all that negative, garbage energy to my holy place.